everyone, and welcome back to the Man and Machine Virtual Summit. I'm Lawrence Collier, one of the sales managers here, and first of all, just like to say thank you, Robin, for the previous session on Twinmotion. Very glad to see that's included in the AEC collection now. It helps us to produce those good visualizations without having to worry about other pieces of software or further investment. Additionally, I'd like to say thank you to Toby and Byron for the previous session on AutoCAD. It's great to see that the updates in AutoCAD are helping to not only remove those repetitive tasks, but also to help improve efficiency. I know we could all do with a few more hours in the day when we're working on tight deadlines, so that, alongside the activity insights, are really going to help the way we work going forward. Now, we're going to take a step away from the 2D side of design and into the 3D world of Revit. I'm going to hand you over to one of our applications engineers here at Man and Machine, Bianca, who's going to talk all things new in Revit 2024. So I hope you enjoy the session, and I'll be back with you shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence, for that intro. Again, my name is Bianca, application engineer here at Man and Machine, and I'll be taking you through the Revit 2024 updates. I'll take you over to my screen now. So as we get into the Revit updates, I just want to go over the architecture updates today. So I'll be highlighting more of the visual updates that we can expect now using the current version. There are Revit updates with the structural and areas of rebar and MEP, so you can look forward to our additional blogs to see those updates. Now, before we go into it, I'll take you from the beginning. If you've been watching the AutoCAD session, then you might see the Insights tab. The Insights tab is now available for Revit as well. Now, the more you use Revit, we'll be able to pull out information such as specific workflows that are being used, or maybe specific tools that are being used over and over. So this is going to allow you to get some data on that and track your movement, either how Revit can improve your workflow or remove some issues that you might have. From there, we're going to go into the recent files. As you can see, I have these sample files open on my screen. If you've been working with Revit for some time, then you know that we've had some old sample files. So this new project is Snowdon Towers, and this is a real-world site. It's located in Brownsville, Pennsylvania, in America. The files were done by real designers, so as we take a look at those, we will see that there is lots of information on there. And it's really setting the expectations of what we can expect from Revit. So I'm just going to take you into an architectural file now. Now, when you open the architectural file, you are going to notice that everything is imperial. I would say that is the only downfall to using the sample files. However, because it was created in America, those are the expectations. Now, the other thing I would like to highlight is when you open the architectural file, we will see that there are multiple linked files in here. So it's really combining the structural, the facade, and site, all of those. And we can see in the Manage tab, under our Manage Links, we'll see all of the linked files that are in here. Okay, so if you want to remove any of those, you will go to the Manage Links and work from that section. So I'd just like to point out, we are on the cover page, so it's showing the Snowdon Towers. We can see what the existing site was in this project and what we are expecting it to look like. From there, if you would like to make any changes while you're looking in any specific views, and I'll just open a floor plan now. Just keep in mind that there are view templates that are applied to all of these. So if you just want to go in the properties and scroll down to the view template and select none, and then that will allow you to make any changes and adjust any features that you might need when using these sample files. Now, just taking a look here at level 1, there's lots of annotations. We have dimensions and symbols on here. There's lots of work going on, and this is what we can expect from Revit and what we can use in our drawing files. In America, the standards are quite high, making sure that accessibility is available for everyone. So you'll see these nice clear indications all around the floor plans. If I point and select to one of these dimensions, you will see that there is a new text style, trebuchet, and you can modify this if needed, or go back to the previous text font if you prefer. So we have lots of information to work with using these sample files, and they will help us to produce additional work to use for reference if needed. Now the first thing that we're going to look at is our project browser. We now have this search functionality here available. Before, if you remember, it was a few clicks away in order to access that search bar, but now it's here right on the top available for us to use. So if I just type in any letters, that's going to filter through all of my information, whether that's my views, sheets, or even down to my families. So we can get straight to what we need when we need it. And all of these extra areas are reducing our work time. A few clicks every day can make a big difference. From there, if we see, we still have these blue icons, so that's going to indicate that this specific view has been dragged onto a sheet. Now saying that, before you used to have to drag one view onto a sheet at a time. And now we can drag multiple views on a sheet. So we'll just take a look at how we can do that now. And I'm just going to create a new sheet. Let's do that now. And we'll just drag on a few views just so we can see how easy that is. So I just have a blank sheet there. And I'll go on to my schedules, and I'll grab one of these schedules, and I'll expand and bring on a rendering at the same time. So I'm going to take this exterior river view. I'm going to select the first one, hold down Control, and select one of my schedules. With that, I can drag those over to my sheet, and you can see that these are both coming in now at the same time. Now you'll still have to adjust those on that sheet itself, but you can see how helpful this can be. You can grab multiple views if needed at one time. That leads me to schedules. With these schedules, you do have these additional grab bars that you can adjust the schedule if needed. However, as long as you have the schedule active, if you take a look in the properties, you have the option to use the resize rows. With the drop down and you select all, that will open up the row height. So this is going to allow you to adjust the height of the schedule and create further customization. And I'll just place something in here so we can take a look at that change. And there we go. It's just brought in my schedule slightly bigger. So small features, but that will make a big difference when we're working, creating those customizations. From there, that brings me into our schedules, and we have a new option to create revisions in our schedules. So if we go into our View tab, as we would create a typical schedule, I'll navigate over there and select the schedule option. And now from my category list, I'm just going to search for revision, and I have this revision clouds. By selecting that, I will have these available fields such as comment, mark, and revision. And I'm just going to drag those over by selecting the green arrow to bring them onto my schedule fields. And from there, I'm going to add some additional fields. And I can do that by going from the additional categories. And I'll use revision for this. From there, we have the revision number that might be needed, issued by, and I'll include the issued date for that. From there, my fields are ready to populate in my schedule, and I'm just going to select OK. So now this is added in the schedule options, so you can use this for additional sheets and include those revisions. So that's a nice way to work. We haven't taken a look at our building in 3D, so let's just do that now. And we're going to see lots of colors here, lots of materials, and we have the columns, these decorative motifs and details from the facade. So lots of information being pulled through here. With that being said, and now on our visual styles bar, we have a option for textures. So if you're familiar with the realistic tab, you know that it does weigh down the model a little bit, but that will just improve specific views if you want to use for printing before you start to render. So by using the textures tab, that will allow you to kind of see the materials that are being used and give that real level of detail. Now, once I've selected that, you can see already, it take a minute to load, but I'm getting that woodwork detail, the bricks, and even a bit of the shading on the concrete. So it's nice, without having to render, we're still getting detail to allow us to give us a real idea of what our model is going to look like. And that's in the display, the visual displays. So I'm just going to change that back to shaded so we can continue to work from there. So from there, I have another session of Revit, and I will go through some additional examples. So the first thing you're going to notice is my Revit is looking as the previous versions, but we do have a way to now create these dark views, similar to what you see with AutoCAD. Now I'm just going to open a new file to show you that, but before we go in there, we now have the option of a new template file, and that template file is a multidisciplinary template. So if you just select the new and you locate where your existing templates are, you can see that I've loaded that in there. So this is going to be where your additional templates are, and you will have to load that in because by default it won't be there. So we're just going to take a look at that now. So you can see now we have some areas that would typically come in with either a family template or a structural template. So you have that in combined with your architectural details. Now working in the project browser, you can see that we have the architectural section, and it's going to correlate and go down with the electrical, mechanical, and include the plumbing and structural. So it's nice, you can work if needed with your project and using all of those for reference. From there, if you'd like to use the dark theme, as I mentioned, we'll begin in the View tab. And on the very right side, I have the Canvas theme. So if I select Canvas theme now, that's going to go into the dark mode in my model space, paper space. Now, if you're like me, you prefer the traditional view, I'm just going to change that back to the light theme, but I will show you how to change the overall look. Now, in the Files tab on the top left corner, if you navigate to your options and we go to our colors, we'll see we have the UI active theme. And from there, you can switch from dark to light. And that will just change everything to that dark theme. And if you want to change your paper space back to white, you can do that as well. So we have lots of flexibility and customized options here for you. The other area, I will show you where to locate that template file. If we go to our options tab once more, and if you remember where the file locations are, where our existing templates, we can simply use the add sign and we can add our additional templates here. And if you just navigate, we'll see the default multidiscipline metric, and we can use that one. Now from there, we do have some color enhancements. We can see that in the materials tab, but I'll use the additional settings of the line types to show this example. By selecting the line styles, and if I use the line color, I can select that and navigate to the color books. The color books will then give you multiple options of different color selection, and you can use those to further enhance, whether it's specific materials, line styles, anything that requires a color type. Now that leads me into my next highlight I wanted to share with you. So one of the biggest changes is going to be in the massing insight. Now the massing insight has been enhanced. I would say it's very helpful for landscape architects. Now they have the option under Topo Solid to create 3D Topo Solids. Now before you used to have create the Topo Solid using those points, those line points, which you can still do if you want to use an import, but now rather than creating just a surface, you're getting that 3D view. So from there, I'm going to just create a sketch, and I'm going to use a real simple example from this. So I'm going to use just a rectangle to create a topo surface, a Topo Solid. And before I select the green check to complete this, we're going to take a look at the properties. In the properties, we have this grassland type, anything from woods, and even one down here that shows with water as well. So lots of options, and that will get you up to speed real quick. So I'm just going to select the green check and take a look at that in 3D. Now, again, if you have any of those view styles, view templates, you'll want to make those changes so that you can use the additional view settings. Now you can see straight away with a few clicks, we now have that 3D surface. From there, if you still want to add those additional points to create the surface type, you can select the Topo Solid and use the add point at the very top. From there, you do have an area on the elevation and the height that you would like to use. If you select the very top for elevation base, you can use the current level, the project base, or even the survey point or internal origin. For this example, I'm just going to use the project base point, and I'm just going to place something in here. And from there, I'm ready to draw my points, and you can see how quickly I can begin to draw up my topo surface. From there, I'll just select Modify to exit that command, and you can see how quickly it's now given me that level of detail. Now, in addition to that, by selecting the Topo Solid once more, we have this area of Subdivide. The Subdivide is going to allow us to create an additional section on top of that topo surface. So if you're looking to create some type of foundation or additional layers, we can use this right on top. Now I'm just going to use my draw tools once more, and like I said, I'm just going to use something very simple for this. And I'm just going to select the green check. But before I do that, I can take a look at my properties. I can see here in the subdivision, I have an area for materials and the subdivided height. So for category, I'm just going to type in here some concrete, so we can see the difference in that, and I'll just select one of these, and I'm just going to change the height of that. I'll just place that in half. From there, I'll select the green check, and it's now giving me this additional layer on top of my Topo Solid. So you can see how easy you can start to build up your design. From there, we also have the improvement of being able to create cutouts from the Topo Solid. So I'm just going to use the in-place mask for that, and I'll just use the default name, is okay. And I'm just going to cut out a section here in my Topo Solid, and I'll be using the cut tool to cut out a section here. I'm going to change this to a void form, so that way I have a nice section. And I'll bring this out a little bit. And from there, I'll use the cut command, and I'll select my Topo Solid, and then select my void. And you can see there, I'll select the complete option. We can ignore that. And you can see now it's cutting out that section of the Topo Solid. So you can imagine how useful this will be for making underground parking, any areas that need to be cut out depending to the landscape around the building or the project itself. So these are just to highlight the areas of the architecture updates. There are a few more, but we are just highlighting the ones that I've shared with you today. I hope this was helpful, and stay tuned to our additional blogs to see more information. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Bianca. That was a great overview of Revit 2024 and what we can now utilise. The updates for Revit and other software are in abundance now. They seem to be coming through thick and fast, and long may that continue. I mean, the more we can push Revit to be an even more powerful tool, the better. Now, repeating what I said earlier, the more we can do to remove those manual tasks and increase efficiency, the better. And integrations into the AEC collection with the likes of Forma, Twinmotion, are really helping to streamline our design process by encompassing a lot of these powerful design tools all in one collection. Now, as much as I'm not from industry, I can still appreciate a lot of these benefits to the likes of Revit. For example, I work with a number of landscape architects, and I know that those topography benefits, upgrades from Revit, are really going to improve their workflows and bring down their design time. Additionally, bringing in the textures into Revit to be able to create that initial visualization, helping us to produce that effective picture when putting it to clients before taking it into something like Twinmotion, is really going to be of benefit too. Now, I also have a lot of conversations with customers who are trying to improve their visibility on the usage of their software, whether it be the frequency of usage or how the software is actually being used. And over the last few months, Autodesk have improved that in the usage report, giving us good visibility of the users, the piece of software, and how frequently it's being used. But with these updates in Revit, really showing that command level of usage is really going to help us understand how the software is being utilized throughout the company, make sure it's being used the right way, and are we on the right licensing model as well. Now, a lot of the conversations we have at Man & Machine, our customers coming to us and asking us, well, how do I begin this journey? How do I begin adopting Revit and 3D ways of working? And it completely depends on you and where you are. At Man & Machine, at the core of what we do, we really like to understand exactly who you are as a company, how you're working at the moment, what you're trying to achieve, what are your business goals, and then we can develop a plan on how to get there. Now, if you're at the beginning of that journey, working in 2D at the moment, but you're looking into that 3D way of working, then perhaps it's a case of looking at the workforce initially, like getting them on the fundamentals courses and upskilling them, getting them comfortable using the software. And then beyond that, we can look at how we develop your families and templates, and then work to more advanced levels of Revit from there. On the other hand, if you're a company that is currently utilizing Revit, then perhaps it's a case of, okay, well, how do we get more out of it? Do we need to upskill our workforce further in those advanced features, or again take them through to the visualization side of things? It's all capabilities that we're here for, really. We've got a wide old team at Man & Machine, so whatever you're interested in, whatever you need to do, get in touch, and we can begin that conversation on how we can support you and develop a plan. Thank you for attending the session, and thank you to Bianca for delivering it. I hope you've enjoyed the session so far, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.